Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition, a Tuesday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios, family owned and operated with the largest selection of natural diamond jewelry and the only diamond and jewelry partner of the Florida Gators. We'll have Buddy Martin, we'll have Mike Pearson, former Gator, first round draft pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars, will join us as well. Congratulations to Ben Shelton. He moves on. Other than that, not a whole lot going on. Next week is SEC Media Day, so we'll have something to talk about next week. Let's go to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp, where Comfort Temp Heating and Air is your #1 local HVAC company. Professional and experienced technicians keep you informed throughout the entire project. Visit them at comforttemp.com. Good morning, buddy. How you doing?
Good morning, Shane. I'm going to have to get a T-shirt or two from you. I don't know. I seem to be running out of them. Wearing these white T-shirts every day, but I'm doing good, and good show last night. Very slow time, as you pointed out. Always a good time to reevaluate and look at things and figure. And you can overthink this whole thing, but it's basically about getting the W's next fall. And I get flummoxed trying to read it and look at all the ratings and the picks and whatever, and some things don't add up. But anyway, so we'll be talking ball a lot more, as you say, next week. SEC Media Days, I believe Brendan and Rob are going to be there for that. We'll get some check-ins from them. And by the way, happy birthday to Todd Golden. How old do you think he is, Shane?
I'm guessing 39, 40.
You got it, 40. Turned 40 yesterday. I calculated that if on his current pace, if he stayed 10 more years, he'd have won over 250 games at Florida, but I don't know if he'll be that long. But boy, it sure is good to have him now, and his players are starting out this week in the early game NBA games, and a good showing by those guys last couple of days. Yeah. So also, by the way, it's a birthday of one of my favorite players, Tommy Howe. He's going to be a terrific player. They're going to be a great. And Francis telling me he thinks he'll be a first-round pick, maybe a lottery pick. I don't know. He does everything well. He's fun to watch. This team.
And I know people take it the wrong way. He is light years ahead of Alex Condon, in my opinion. He's got way more skill.
Yeah, I agree with that. But Condon's pretty good now.
He is, but I'd take Tommy in a heartbeat.
Well, he's that sort of that Swiss Army knife. He can play anywhere in there, and he can shoot, he can handle, and he can defend, and he's just fun to watch. Now, I love me some Alex Condon too. Now, he's a banger, he's a hustler, and he shoots well, handles the ball well for a big man. They got some players on that squad.
Yes, they do. Shooter on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, "What do y'all think is the hardest thing to do in sports?"
Well, I've heard this said many times by many people who know a lot more than I do over the years. They say it's hitting a baseball. Having played a little bit at all of them, I don't know. I think it's pretty hard when you drop back and you got 350-pound guys coming at you to throw a football and connect it too, if you ask me. But I would say skill level, maybe hitting a baseball. But in terms of dealing with your fears and the brutality of sports, Shane, you played the position. It didn't get any harder than that.
Yeah, I think playing quarterback's pretty difficult. I do agree hitting a baseball. I think hitting a golf ball ain't easy either.
Well, at the level you play at, yeah. I mean, let's face it, you play with a bunch of sharks out there, and you guys are good, and what are you, a +2? What are you, Shane?
Buddy, if I was a +2, no, I'm like a 4 or 5. +2 like is like JC Deacon. Like
Yeah, yeah, I
they
know.
shoot 65 every time they go play.
Shane, I heard what you said always when you play with your group. I'm told you say this every time you go out. Where's the first hole and what's the course record? That's what you always say.
I do what?
You always walk up to the first tee and say, "Where's the first hole and what's the course record?"
No, I don't, because no, that does not happen. We
Yeah,
just we compete.
yeah. On the subject of golf, some people don't understand how hard it is to learn to play golf. Like my beautiful wife, she decides in her advanced age she'd like to play golf. I said, "Don't bother.
Yeah.
Don't even bother. It's not even going. You'll be miserable if people say, "Well, I can do that. I can like go out and hit that golf ball." Well, no, you can't, and you can't hit it at that high level. But anyway, it's a great game when it goes right, though. It's a great game.
It's a great game regardless. Franklin says on YouTube, brought to you by Quad, Condon was also injured last part of the season. Regardless, before he was injured, I was taking Tommy Houck from day one.
Hmm.
Um, John asked, I know we're 8 weeks away, but do you think Ball will be the starting running back? I don't know. I don't know if it matters. I want to say Jacoby Jackson started a lot of the last few games, and he started. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And they
They're
got
going to get.
Trayon Webb, and they got as good a running back room as there is in the
Mhm.
SEC. I'm with you. I don't think it matters. I think Ball is going to be their featured back, in my opinion, and he's a tremendous player. You know how I feel about him. He's got speed for a big guy, and I know you and I started talking about him last year. You weren't that sold on him at first, but
I wasn't sold on him. I think we got a lot of really good running backs.
I think you're right. I think they do. They got some good choices, and as I said, a really good running back room, and they got a heck of a coach. Joe Lucas, I think, a fantastic coach in my opinion. He just got a big raise this year, I believe.
Text on the Titan Mar text line. I'm not sure who it's from. Says, do you stay in touch with Mick Hubert? And if so, how is he? I do not.
Mm.
We'll try to get him on. Mick's down in South Florida, retired and not worried about Gator athletics.
Well, he dropped off the map, didn't he? I
Yeah.
mean, he took his microphone, hung it up, and that was it. We don't hear from him except as an occasional guest. We don't
Yeah.
hear from him. I guess that's good in a way. You can put it down and go on, but I don't know. I could never get shaky complete myself.
Yeah. Andy says on Facebook Live, congrats to Tim Tebow and his wife on their arrival of
Yeah,
their new baby
yeah,
girl.
yeah.
Yep, no doubt.
Yeah, I want to mention that. I mentioned it last night. And of course, we don't know the name yet.
Yeah, we do.
We do. Don't tell me yet, because they didn't know last night, and I didn't know. But I had the perfect name for her,
Hmm.
and what better name than Teresa, Teresa Tebow, like after Mother Teresa. That would be my choice.
Well,
What's your
that
name?
ain't it.
Okay,
Would you like to know what it is?
sure.
Daphne Rain Tebow.
Okay,
Rain, Reign.
uh, okay. Well, I guess to each his own.
Yeah,
Whatever. I don't. Daphne is not a name I would have picked, but then again, I'm not Tim Tebow. I
that's
know he
right.
loves his daughter already, and you have daughters, right?
Yeah,
And you have granddaughters.
I do not.
You don't have granddaughters?
I do not.
Dude, you have missed out on the granddaughter thing.
Well,
If
I
I
have plenty of time for granddaughters to come along, but I do
Yes,
not have a
yeah.
granddaughter.
Can I just say right here, one of the great joys of my adulthood was 2 weeks ago, having all three of my granddaughters here at one time in the Panhandle. It was fabulous. And if I may, if it's permissible, give a shout out to my buddy David, Dr. David Arnoff, who loaned us his place on the beach, loaned them. They all stayed there. Brendan, Rebecca, Jeff stayed there, and boy, it was just great having all three granddaughters here. They spoiled me. I love having them here. I wish I could have had my grandson Alexander, but he was in Ocala. But I know. What do you have? Three grandchildren? Two grandchildren?
I have one,
You have one. What's his name?
Breeze.
Breeze. Okay. Like Drew Brees.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh, Now, okay, you
Yep.
have granddaughters, man. Okay, you're going for a treat, man.
Yeah.
Nothing like them.
They'll come along at some point.
Yeah,
Whenever Meyer introduced his high quality tequila to the Gator Nation, he made sure to get it to the HBC and the team at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Dorn's Liquors. Go beyond with smooth Los Landeros tequila. All right. Blind Squirrel says he was thinking the name Kirby Tebow would be a good ring.
Oh, oh, I don't think so.
Yeah. So,
Speaking of Tebow, we had a conversation last night, not to hijack your show, and we cannot talk about this, but picking the all-time great Florida quarterbacks. You were on everybody's list, top five, top four. Everybody on the show added you to it. And it's quite an interesting list when you put it together for different reasons. And it's a list of sometimes you forget about some of those guys, what they did, what they accomplished. But I think it's the game changers, the program changers like yourself that really made a big difference. And so you should be honored and flattered that people told you one of the greatest of all time.
yeah, I mean, everybody's got their own list. So, I think my list was, what did I say my list was? Danny, Tim, Rex, Chris Leak, and Trask were my guys.
Those are
Because
good
that's
ones.
all I saw play.
Yeah. And that's the thing you have to understand. And when you start getting into these greatest of all times, I have a column up on Gator Bait now, if I may just say so. Be careful about saying greatest of all time if you have not seen them play. And so many people haven't. And you and I have had this conversation about picking players and players who are on a list they shouldn't be because they were great as pros, but really weren't that great as college players. And I mentioned the beloved Jack Youngblood, who I love as a player, a fantastic player, was a great pro and a good player, all SEC his senior year. But he didn't play. He played 3 years. By the time he got out, he was really a good player, really good all SEC. But he was not a Mount Rushmore player as a college collegiate. And someone tried to put them on their Mount Rushmore. Well, it's a great name, but it's just not. It's just not correct.
I agree with that. Text on the Titan Mart text line from William. He says, "Buddy, why will you not be at SEC Media Days?"
I'm not saying I won't. It's unlikely. It's a long time to commit. And I can do my shows from here and get guests on without having them. I don't know. I'll think about it. I went for a long time, and the last couple of years I've chosen to let my other guys go. They do better work than me.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it at the College Football Hall of Fame,
Have you ever been to SEC Media Days?
only as a player.
Okay, so you were one of the ones they took. Steve took you with him.
Yeah, I think I went twice. I can't remember though.
I would probably have been there. I can't remember, but then again, did y'all talk? Did y'all have individual interviews or just sit at a
But,
table or what?
but that was 30 something years ago. I do not remember.
No, that's an honest answer.
Yeah,
That's an honest
I
answer.
really don't remember anything about it. I remember I hated having to get dressed up and going. I did not want
Or
to.
some things never change. Hey, who do you think Florida should take? Who should
Oh,
Billy
I'm
take?
sure. I bet they're going to take DJ, Caleb Banks, and I don't know who else they would take, but I think those two will
Jay
definitely be.
Slaughter.
Oh yeah. Jake Slaughter. Yeah,
I don't think they'll take DJ.
they may not. They may not. I mean,
Uh,
he's still young, but
yeah, I wish they would because he's got the face of the franchise. But my guess is they'll say, "Hey, he's got next year." But Slaughter, I mean, Slaughter's an amazing player. He has really become one of the great offensive linemen in Florida football history, and the way he conducts himself. You know all those awards, Shane, for offensive linemen. There's the Outland, I think, and there's
mhm.
two or three of them. He should be in there for some of those.
Yeah, he should be up for him for sure.
The Remington is for centers, I believe. Somebody help me out here.
I think you're correct. I think you're correct. This day in sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. 2015, the NFL's Washington Redskins have their trademark vacated on the grounds that it may cause offense to the Native Americans. What a bunch of garbage.
Well, you elect your president now. He's trying to put it back.
Well, I'm a Native American and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's a great name.
yeah,
I've just, I guess, buddy, what I'm going to ask you is because
yeah.
you've been following this because Syracuse had to change their name,
Right, right.
St. John's had to change their name, Marquette, the
Mhm.
Cleveland Indians. Has any tribe or group of Native Americans ever complained about this?
Yeah, I think there have been a few.
Have they?
Yeah, but there are a few. I think maybe Washington and Cleveland, maybe, but nothing. There's no big outrage of any kind. And I think we went through a time when this is what we all did to purge ourselves and purge our guilt. And I think in retrospect, because we went through a lot of name changing in the last 10 years, especially the woke part of it, all kinds of names and statues torn down and what have you. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm a tradition guy. I'm with you. If the Native Americans are not offended by it, and by the way, they got a piece of the action with the Seminoles. They've got the good wishes of the Seminole Nation. I don't know why it necessarily is a bad thing, but I don't know. People get upset about strange things. So I guess maybe I can't speak for it. You can. I'm not Native American. You can. You say it's okay. That's good enough for me.
Well, it is for me. It's no different than the whole Gator bait chant, that we've talked about on this for many, many years. And obviously you did polls and stuff because your company's called Gator Bait. Uh, I've never met one human being that it bothered.
That's something that was totally manufactured by somebody, some mythical thing or whatever. I don't know. I wasn't around when that supposedly happened, but anything I've ever read, I've
You
never
weren't
run.
around in the early 1900s, buddy?
Oh, even the 1800s.
1800s?
Yeah. And the thing about it is that I've never seen one bit of tangible evidence that that happened. It sounds like it was a myth. But I stood and fought for our company, and thanks to Freddie Weeby for his help, and gave the people the opportunity to say, "You want to change it? Does it offend you?" I didn't say I would change it. I'll offer. I can't tell you the number of people who said, "Do not ever change that name." And now I think there's still some will out there for people, from people who are wanting to bring the chant back.
Well, there's
I,
no question about that. I think you would have 99.9% of the people that
yeah,
follow the Gators that want the chant with the band. People still say Gator bait, but they're talking about the entire stadium when the band plays it is
yeah,
what they're referring to. And it
yeah,
needs to be brought back. I don't care what anybody says. My
yeah,
personal opinion is it needs to be brought back.
yeah. The president who killed it's gone, so let's bring it back.
No,
Change
I
it.
think I think he's here.
Is he?
Fox is still here. Speaking of that, we just got a text on the Titan of our text line. What's going on with the new president at UF? I know nothing. But I want to say that Fox was the one that got rid of it.
I lose
Somebody can help us
perspective.
out
Yeah,
here.
please help us out. We're two old men trying to remember things and can't remember when, who's what. And
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he did that. Buddy, well, you've been watching your Tampa Bay Rays.
I have. I've
You
been.
see my man Jake Mangum hit an inside the park home
I
run?
did. I sure did see Jack Mangum. He's played with got great speed, and as he proved there, boy, it's been painful to watch lately. Oh my gosh, they've been on a losing streak. They were playing great baseball. They're still tied with, I think, the Yankees, and only like two and a half out. I watch them every night, and I enjoy watching them. I enjoy watching what a resourceful manager does with the team with a low payroll. How they've had some bad luck. They called up their big all-season acquisition. They paid 29 million for it. He played one game and got hurt. So they've had some injury problems. Their bullpen hasn't held up lately, but they got some really talented player. Junior Caminero is this all-star in the making. Speaking of which, I think the Rays got two players. Aranda and Lau are going to be on the All-Star game.
Fox was the president that got rid of it, and he's now the interim. So um, I don't know what the deal is there, quite honestly.
Shane,
Uh,
you're a man of influence. You can get things done.
no,
When you say things, people listen.
I don't know about that, but I think it's the name of your company. You should do a big uh poll and
I did one, Shane.
well,
I
you need
did
to
a
do a
big.
new one, buddy, to bring
I
it back.
I well, Freddie Weeby helped me. We did a poll. It was like 98%
Yeah, there's nobody
said keep it.
that's against it. It's so silly. It's absolutely stupid. I don't know how else to put it. It's dumb.
It's like saying, let's don't have orange and blue as our colors. Let's have yellow and blue. I mean, that's part of what it is. That's tradition. Come on, man.
Yeah, they need to bring it back. Kevin on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says, "Buddy, how do you feel when you saw fire for the first time?" I don't know what that meant. Barone 71 said, "What is Buddy's must-win game for the Florida football team this year?"
Well, the game I want to win is Texas, but I think the must win is Georgia.
I think the most important game on the schedule is the LSU game
Okay, tell me why.
because I'm assuming we will be 2-0 going to Baton Rouge,
Should be.
and it's our first conference game,
Mm-hmm.
probably in the most hostile environment in all of college football,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to get off to a 1-0 start in conference play and have the momentum going.
What if they lose to both Texas teams?
Well, let's hope that they beat Miami and LSU. We have got the worst case scenario is go 2-2 in that stretch.
Really?
Worst case. If we're 1-3, it ain't gonna be good.
I've named that the Saturday, scorched earth Saturdays. That those games 2 through 6 are brutal. The back end is not great either, but and it's key. There's no doubt they're gunning for that game. I don't know. I got a pretty good feeling about LSU. I
Well,
think
LSU to me, we got a lot of people chiming in here talking about Miami, talking about we need to establish dominance in the state of Florida. I think Florida right now is dominating the state of Florida in recruiting from what I follow. I don't follow it
yeah,
closely.
yeah,
I could be wrong, but Miami's not a conference game, right?
right, right.
We need to beat LSU.
Okay, all right. Uh, and I think they can. And the good thing about this team is they can beat anybody on the schedule. No doubt about it. They got a great linebacker. The guy's like one of the top linebackers in the country. The kid they just signed up, and they'll their ratings and recording. I followed somewhat. Their ratings and rankings recruiting have been really good. Malik Marsh. I loved his comments before he committed. He said, "I've been here so many times, so I'm familiar with the whole staff. It doesn't get any better from here. He loves it there. I want Gator players who love being there and want to be there. You know, that's so I'm looking forward to seeing him play. I think they're getting better at linebacker, and the players they got now, and they keep loading up like that. They're going to be just fine. That's that defense, Shane. If they're pretty good, that's a whole nother ball of wax. If they can get 4 or 5 stops a game, I heard you so many times begging for a stop in your analysis. And just give me please on those 4th and 2, give me a stop. Something. If they can get what if they got 2 extra stops a game, Shane? What would that do?
Well, we didn't really stop anybody against LSU or Ole Miss. That was
Yeah,
driving me crazy. We
yeah.
bend but don't break, and then they'd miss field goals. They'd turn it over. That's part of the game. Um, I'm telling you, it's still defense to me. Defense has got to play uh, at a high level for us to have the year we want to have. Yeah, a lot of people here talking about the Miami game. Maybe it's just because I don't give a damn about Miami, but I'd rather beat LSU than Miami.
I'm with you on that. And I don't,
We need to beat them both, but
yeah,
we really need to beat LSU. Need to badly.
I don't consider Miami that big a rival. I really don't. I'm sorry.
I don't either. Joseph says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellow Law, 8 of them are must wins for Billy, which 8 is up to him, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that's to make the difference. I think we've agreed they ought to be 8-4. They could be 9-3, and a really great year would be 10-2. I'm taking the top number right now as unless till I see otherwise. this team's got to aim for 10-2. They got to be 10-2. But
Well, don't aim for 10-2, aim for 12-0.
okay, well, all right, I'll do that too.
Yeah.
But practically speaking, they could be 10-2. They can't be 12-0.
So Barone says on YouTube, right about quality plumbing, high school players won't look twice at Florida losing to good SEC teams, but losing to in-state ACC teams can really hurt recruiting and program perception. All right, I somewhat agree with that. I don't follow recruiting, but many of y'all do. Us losing to Miami last year, has that hurt our recruiting? Or
No,
did it hurt our recruiting?
no.
I don't think it did either.
And I don't think I don't really see that many times when you see a player that went to Miami over Florida that was the reason they did it. It's just I don't think it matters. Now it matters a lot more when they're from South Florida. There's that much more pressure on them to go to Miami. But
Yeah.
no, I don't. I mean, I bet just beat them both. That'd be the best thing.
Brian's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mello. Why are so many people so high on Nussmeier at LSU? I don't get it. He's good, man. I think he's very good.
When
He's got everything you want in a quarterback.
when did all of a sudden he become a bum? I mean, he's
Yeah,
been
he's going to be a first round draft pick, and I think he's very good.
and he's even going to be
Excellent
better
thrower of the
this.
football. Excellent.
And he did have a lot of pressure on him last year, Shane.
Yeah,
His
but
offensive,
he still had a hell of a year. I
he
mean,
did, but I'm
he's a
just
good
saying,
player.
if they could have protected him, what could he have done? Because I mean, 8 sacks against Florida. Florida got 8 sacks on him.
They did, but the game was still not it wasn't out of hand. They squandered a lot of opportunities as well, but I think he's very good. Um, Mike on YouTube, brought to you by Quad Palm, says Shane and Buddy, who is going to be the leader on defense? I think it'd be Caleb Banks and Tyreek Sapp,
I agree with
Up
that.
Howard. Time will tell. Time will
Yeah,
tell.
yeah. Sapp was just named the best returning outside pressure guy in the
I saw that.
SEC. Yeah, so he's highly regarded. And Banks, if you look at those games last year at the end, he was really dominant. He really was. You complained about the front seven over and over and over and over. And they showed up the last 4 games last year, made a big difference.
They played well at times. Yep, no doubt about it. All right, buddy, who you got on your program tonight?
Well, tonight it's going to go to Lauren Meadows. He and Rob Brownwood and Brendan Martin will be doing the show. They'll be on the regular time, 9 Eastern. Join them for a good time, good information. I'm sure Lauren will have many stories to tell about his world travels to Paris and around the world being back here. So check him out tonight.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, somebody just asked me, would I agree that DJ has elite arm talent? Yeah, he's got great arm talent. Nussmeier has great arm talent. Uh, I would say Arch Manning has great arm talent. I would say John Mateer, the quarterback of Oklahoma, has great arm. Everybody has great arm talent these days. I mean, they're all big, strong, can throw the hell out of it.
Among those
It's not
elite,
arm talent. Arm talent to me is more about accuracy
yeah,
and throwing completions.
okay,
I don't give a damn how far you can throw it. You hear it on my
okay,
show all the time. It
yeah,
does not matter how far you can throw a football and how
yeah.
hard you can throw it. None of that matters. But people get enamored with that for some reason.
Well, Joe Montana's arm talent wasn't that great. He did pretty well, I'd say, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but you talk about all the great quarterbacks at Florida and college football.
Mhm.
I mean, out of the Florida quarterbacks that under Spurrier that had great arm talent, like the average person's definition of arm talent
Mhm.
would be Rex, Doug,
Doug. Mhm.
and Cresser.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tebow didn't have no great arm talent. I didn't
No.
have great arm talent. Danny didn't have great arm talent. I'm going by what the average fan calls arm
Yeah.
talent or these so-called scouts.
Yeah. I'm with you on
The
that.
bottom line is accuracy and throwing freaking completions.
Yeah. And
You
not
can't
throwing
do that. You
to
can't play the position.
the wrong color jersey. That's key.
Yeah. Yeah. Rex had great arm talent. No question about that. And he
Who'd
threw
you wind
completions.
who'd you wind up with again? Tebow, Danny,
Tebow, Danny, Rex,
Rex,
Leak, and Trask.
Lee Contreras. He gets forgotten a lot, doesn't he?
Two.
Lee.
Yeah. He was a damn good player.
Yeah.
He's our all-time leading passer, by the way.
Pretty
All right,
good.
buddy. We got to get to Mike Pearson. Have a great weekend, my friend.
Yeah, tell Mike hello. Thank you.
That's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout. Come back. We'll be joined by former Gator first round draft pick of the Jaguars, Mike Pearson. You're watching and listening to PodUp Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Cogent Bank, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Signs, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG and A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Ho, ho, ho. All the way from the North Pole. It's me, Santa Claus. Oh, I'm here with my friend Steve Spurrier for an amazing Christmas in July offer.
Spurrier's Gridiron gift cards are on sale for 20% off.
Coach, how do they get them?
You can go to spurriers.com and order a digital card or stop by my restaurant in Celebration Point and pick some up today.
Thanks for being my holiday helper in July, Coach. Hurry, this special Christmas in July offer is for this month only. Ho, ho, ho.
I'm tired of you living in pain, and I want you to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulders, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Stop putting it off. Call now and schedule your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now in Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. 352-400-4550. 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Florida Cracker is the brand for original Floridians. Great food and Southern hospitality in the center of the universe, Brooksville, Florida. That's floridacracker.com. Back to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We're joined by former Gator, first-round draft pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars, big offensive tackle Mike Pearson. Good morning, Mike. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on. Look forward to seeing you Friday, maybe beat you in the little match of golf.
That's right. Well, before we jump into just talking ball, I wanted to bring you on. We had Mike DeGore a couple weeks ago talking about the Florida Community Football Camp that's going to be held at Santa Fe High School. I guess Ernest Graham will be the official host, but you will be there. Tell us what that's all about.
Yeah, so this has really been kind of the brainchild, if you will, of a former teammate, Robert Roberts, and thought it would be a great opportunity for us to give back to the communities where we either obviously played high school football, grew up, and just do things that all of us probably want to do, but usually need somebody to kind of get us heading in the right direction. So Rob kind of took that lead and charge, and we had our first camp last year at Astronaut in Titusville, where Aaron Walker hosted, and then this year, Ernest, and luckily, I think, and kind of just good timing, where he became the head coach of Santa Fe. We had already planned on doing one in Gainesville, so it just really worked out to everyone's advantage. I think, obviously, Ernest and where he's getting connected and tied into the community just will help even more. So we're just trying to give back to these kids. It's a great camp. It's fun. We don't try to grind on them. We want to make sure they're having a good time, and we just do some cool drills and then keep them hydrated and let them hang out with some former Gator greats like Alex Brown, Gerard Warren, Todd Johnson, like I said, Aaron Walker, Doug Johnson was with us last year. I think Cooper, Travis McGriff, some guys in the area that are in town. And so it's just been a great opportunity, and Rob's done a great job of leading the charge for sure.
Yep, we're going to post the link there. It's free for kids ages 6 through 12. Starts at 9 o'clock. As you said, drop them off. the names of people he just mentioned, we got a lot of young people that listen to this program that aren't familiar. Every one of them dudes won a lot of football games and played in the National Football League for a long time.
Yeah.
So look them up, and they'll be running your kid or grandkid through county fair, all that good stuff. Should be a lot of fun for sure. We'll get back to that before we get done today. But Mike, let's talk about the upcoming football season. Obviously, the Gators went 8 games last year, more than most people thought. What's your thought leading into this season?
I was definitely pleasantly surprised because I was not an optimistic Gator last year when they started off. So for them to go 8-4, I think was phenomenal. And I think it's kudos to Billy and that staff and how they've, really, I think, had a culture shift. And then I was able to go up probably the second week of spring and, keep in touch with Cooper and yourself. And it was the first time in a while that I thought we looked like a legitimate, SEC football team. We had some big jokers running around. We've got some fast guys out on the edges. Obviously, tailback. Our O-line is returning. So I'm excited. I told them the other day, I really think 9-3, I think, is a legitimate goal where we can maybe sneak in to the playoffs. And I think if we go 10-2, we're definitely in. So excited about where we're going to be. Obviously, the health of the QB is always going to be priority one. And it seems like everything is on the right track for DJ. And that's, the biggest question mark, if you will, where if he goes down or we've got to, kind of manage his throws and kind of pitch count, that's my only kind of hesitation of kind of really being, we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. So I think unfortunately for him, it kind of boils down to how healthy he is. But other than that, I think across the board with the O-line, D-line, got a lot of guys out on the edges that can make plays. And then obviously those tailbacks are unbelievable. So I'm excited.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's talk about you're one of the few people that sit in the stadium or watch on TV that watch O-line play, right? Most people are watching the football. Tell us about Jake Slaughter, your thoughts on him. I mean, All-American, coming back, could have gone pro. Your thoughts on the player that Jake Slaughter is.
I got to see him, like you said, up close and personal. I mean, that guy is a stud. The way he moves, he adjusts really well as far as, sometimes when O-linemen, we'd love to say we never get beat, but obviously it happens. And when he does, he adjusts. And I think that's what kind of separates him from, the other type of players and people at his position, because that's truly where he shines. And because he's not he's not the biggest guy in the room, because centers usually aren't, but man, he's nasty. You can tell he's a leader, and he leads by action. He's not this kind of rah-rah, get in your face guy, at least during practice, which I know sometimes is a little different on game day, but just the epitome of kind of that QB on the O-line. And we're fortunate that he did come back, because he probably could have gone and maybe been a first-round pick, but he is a stud and going to be doing some great stuff for us.
You brought up a good point about his size. I don't know what he's listed at, but when he's standing around with the other lineman, he just doesn't look very big.
Yeah. No, I mean, and we've got some large
human beings
on the offense. Like I took some videos when I came back and I showed my son. He's going to be a junior this year in high school. I'm like, hey, this is what's going on up in Gainesville. And we just kind of shook our head and we're like, these are just some large humans that like I said earlier, like I feel like we're a legit SEC looking team. Kind of when we get off the bus test, we pass it now, I think.
Yes, I agree with that. Andy's question for you, Mike, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. What was the experience like blocking for Fred Taylor with the Jags, and do you think he'll ever be inducted into Canton?
I think he should definitely be inducted into Canton. And for me, I always love telling this story. My first start, we're playing the Ravens, and we're doing this kind of toss pitch sweep out to the left, and Jimmy Smith comes in and just digs out the outside linebacker and flips him. and you can watch me on film, and I totally lose track of who I'm supposed to block, and I'm like, holy cow, I just, like, this NFL wide receiver just up into the big, defensive end type body. And Fred Taylor, like, basically makes me look like I did a great job and I didn't touch anybody. So long story short, Freddie made everybody look good because he could get out of the phone booth, and he could also just stop on a dime, and then next thing you know, he's down the field 60 yards. So he's one of those guys that speed, power, shiftiness, and like you said, I think had he not, and I love Jacksonville, but I think, at the time it was still kind of that small market, and there wasn't this kind of media buzz that's so readily available to everyone now. But I guarantee you, if he was playing in today's market in Jacksonville, he'd be a first ballot type of guy, because he's a rugged runner, which is, still kind of not in the norm, and then he can just take it to the house. And the guy was a phenomenal teammate too. Like, I worked hard. He wasn't, that kind of guy who came in and disrupted the locker room. Just a great. He was the first guy when I got in the locker room, came right up to me. Hey, big fella, if you need anything, here's my number. Call me. Like, don't hesitate. Just a great teammate.
Yeah, to me, he's the best Florida Gator running back I've ever seen. Because of power, speed, or whatever. Just a phenomenal football player. John's question on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Ask Mike if he ever took martial arts classes. Both the arts and playing O-line is important to have leverage and hand-eye techniques.
I did not, but I could see obviously the value in it. But no, I just kind of old school, and to maybe his point, I was just really good at holding people and not getting caught. So that was kind of my best quality, is I could grab and hold people inside and not get caught. So I don't know if that's a martial art, but I was good at it.
Text on the Titan Mark text line from Jim. He says, Mike, who did you model your game after, or who did you look at in the NFL growing up?
Two guys. I mean, obviously the Gator legend, Jason Odom. He was a guy that growing up watched and tried to emulate, and a guy that was just, very versatile, played both sides, durable, and just a great player. And then Tony Baselli was a guy that I always tried to, watch film on, watch how he did things, his footwork, his hand placement. So those two guys were the main that I always tried to, if I could try to follow that and somewhat be in the ballpark, I would be okay.
Did you wear 71 due to Baselli?
I did, yeah. So when I started playing high school football in '95 is when he got drafted with the Jags. And, as a kid, you're like, so I was like, what number you want? I was like, 71. So I stuck with it ever since then.
And when you got drafted by the Jags, was he still there or was he gone?
No, so they had moved him into the expansion draft. So okay, I kind of remind everybody I was not picked to replace him, because you don't replace a Hall of Famer. I was just trying to hold down the fort when he was let go in the draft, because he'd gotten kind of dinged up, shoulder injuries towards the tail end of his career, and one of those unfortunate roster moves that teams have to do. But he's a great guy, and obviously he's doing great things now with the Jags, being in the front office, and excited for him and what they're going to do with that team.
Speaking of the Jags, William here wants to know, do you get back to any of the Jaguar games, and how do you think they're going to be this year?
We usually go back to one a year. They kind of have a Legends Day, and it's fun for me because I've dropped a couple of LBs, and people never recognize who the heck I am. So I don't have to get bombarded with either, hey, you really sucked when you were here, or the autograph boys, as coach would say, because he's But no, I think quarterback is always the premier spot and Shane knows best. Like, if the guy's playing well, the team's going to do well. Trevor's had a couple of struggles here in the last maybe year and a half. If he can kind of get back to playing consistent and being a dual threat guy and staying healthy, I think they're going to do some good things. They've got a good defense, and like I said earlier, Tony Baselli and Shad Khan and those guys. I mean, they're doing everything they can to make a winner. So I think that's what is great for the community, is like nobody's mailing it in and just collecting a check. I mean, those people. I mean, they're redoing the stadium. Travis Hunter, I think he's going to be really good. I mean, I know people maybe have mixed opinions, but I think he's going to be a better receiver. To be honest, I know he's raw, but I think you get the ball in that guy's hand as many times as you can in a game and watch out. So I think they're going to be good. They're going to be young and have some growing pains, but if Trevor can stay healthy and play consistent, I think they're going to do some good things.
The Pouncey twins provide all of Gator Nation with the highest quality liqueurs made by J.F. Hayden Craft Liqueurs. Find your favorite flavors at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We got Mike Pearson, former Gator, offensive lineman here on the Titan MR text line or hotline for a few more minutes. Barone71 wants to know this. This is brought to you by Quality Plumbing. How often does a big offensive tackle size player choose O-line rather than D-line or D-tackle? Any particular reason why?
You'd be shocked, but typically early on in your playing days, career, either high school or whenever you start, like, you know pretty quickly what you're better at. And I knew pretty quickly as a ninth grader I was a way better offensive lineman than I was a defensive lineman. So I think it's very natural. I think guys either they're better on the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball. So I think you pick it pretty quickly, whether, if you played a ton of football growing up as a kid or getting out there in your first couple practices, like, it's obvious, guys who are more of a read and react type of player on the D line, or if they're better of like, hey, you go block this guy, put him in the ground, and so that I was better at being, told what to do. So maybe that's why I'm trying to be a better husband, because I'm not just listening to wife. But yeah, I was just better on the offensive side of the ball. It was evident very, very, very early on.
All right, we need a good Coach Spurrier story.
This is actually just recently. So we were up there for his the first year coach award that Chris Doring sponsors, and we're sitting there and we're at the table just before the award ceremony at his restaurant, and I dabbled, if you will, a little bit in restaurants for a while, and thankfully got out and didn't get losing my shorts. So I asked him, I said, Coach, how's the restaurant doing? And he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, you've been going for now probably 2-3 years. You guys make money? He's like, hell, I don't know. They just pay me every month. So I think it was just funny to me that obviously he's at that point in life where he's just enjoying things, and just being able to hang out with him at a few different events and just get to know him in a different manner than we all did maybe back 20 years ago when we were playing. Now it's more just casual conversations, and he's just he's still good at the one-liners and just cracks me up that I don't know, but they're paying me every month, Michael. So that's all I know.
Yeah, there's nobody like him. He always said, and I tell people this all the time, I think it was maybe, he used to give us all these quotes from these different like John Wooden and stuff. And I don't know if it was John Wooden that stated that you've done something right as a coach, many, many years after so-and-so plays for you, they want to come back and drink beer with you. And that's kind of how a coach is. He loves to sit around and drink beer and tell stories, and he's a funny dude, man. There's nobody like him for sure.
No, he's great. It's just so fun to watch him now in this kind of part of his life, because I think he's kind of loosened up a little bit and been more approachable to people. I think people that have really enjoyed that.
That is very true. Very, very true. And he signs a bunch of autographs now. Back in the day, he's those autograph boys. What did he tell Danny that one time? And you don't sign that, they're gonna sell your autograph for drugs.
Yeah. Batesy did a new painting, that's got like his whole quote on it. When they get your autograph, they go and sell it, and they go buy drugs. 1 in a million.
There's no doubt. Mike, okay, one more time. The camp is this Saturday, Santa Fe High School.
Santa Fe. Trying to have everybody get there at 8:30, just kind of sign in, and we'll get you in the right spots. We'll have plenty of Gatorades and cold towels, kind of shade umbrellas kind of set up, and at the end we're going to feed everybody lunch. But again, it's just a great camp. Gets kids out, gets them off the iPads, which we all know we all struggle with as parents, and then, like you said, I mean, you're going to have some Gator legends that are going to take time with your kids. And that's the other cool thing is, I mean, a guy like Gerard Warren, who I played with, and that guy was one of the toughest, meanest suckers on the field. But he's a teddy bear with these 6 and 12-year-olds. I mean, he loves on them. He coaches them. He takes time with them. Alex Brown does a great job. Steve Shipp. I mean, those guys, you can tell they have a knack for coaching, and it's just a fun time. And I think even at the end, we're going to try to get some flip and slides and do something to kind of cool everybody off towards the end. So it'll just be a great day, and all free. Get a shirt, get some autographs, have some lunch, and get some great pictures of some Gator legends.
Yep. I'll see you Friday, my friend. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you soon, Mike.
All right, buddy. Thank you, guys.
That's Gator great. Mike Pearson join us on the Titan Memorial Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tim. Rules Over State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Again, I want to thank Mike Pearson and Buddy Martin for joining the program. Again, Santa Fe High School, 9 a.m. Get there about 8:30. A lot of former Gators there. It's free for ages 6 through 12. Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town, or I'd be out there myself. Kevin says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, Spurrier is the only guy to be able to call other coaches fat and no one find it offendable. He's the greatest. Yeah, some of the stuff that Coach always said in today's world, who knows what would happen. But there's nobody like him. And former players just love hanging around him nowadays because he does not forget a whole lot. And good stuff for sure. Florida victorious, proud NIL part of the Florida Gators. Join today to help make Florida victorious. Appreciate everybody chiming in. Again, let's see if we can get Gator bait back. I don't know what we need to do, but I'm going to look into that. Have a great day, folks. See you tomorrow. Take care.